What if I told you the most talked about quarterback in the NFL hasn't even touched the field yet? And what if I told you that wasn't a mistake? It was the plan all along? Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam just pulled off what might be one of the wildest, boldest, most calculated stunts in professional sports. And it doesn't involve a touchdown. It involves a bench. Shadur Sanders, college phenom, viral icon, born showman. And for some reason, locked on the sidelines. Why? This isn't just football anymore. This is a psychological thriller in shoulder pads. And it's all being run by a billionaire with a billion-dollar plan. Let's break it down. Jimmy Haslam isn't just calling plays from the owner's box. He's playing an entirely different sport. While fans spend their Sundays screaming about offensive schemes and coaching decisions, Haslam is upstairs playing chess with city councils, investors, and national headlines. To him, football games are just episodes in a long-running series. And if you think this season is about wins and losses, you're not seeing the full picture. Back in the spring, Haslam secured a verbal agreement for a brand new state-of-the-art stadium in Cleveland, a billion-dollar mega project that's flashy, controversial, and expensive. Too expensive to gamble on boring, too risky to let fizzle, and that's where this story really begins. Because to justify a billion-dollar stadium upgrade paid partly by public money, you don't just need a good football team, you need buzz, you need a spectacle. You need something that can hijack every media feed and keep the city talking, week after week after week. And that's exactly what Jimmy Haslam gave them. He didn't just draft a promising young quarterback, he drafted a storyline. Shadur Sanders wasn't just a talent acquisition, he was a calculated spectacle, the kind of player who walks onto a field and brings a camera crew with him. Son of Dillon, college phenom at Jackson State, prime-time 2-inches cleats. From the moment his name was called in the draft, you could almost hear the marketing engines firing up. But here's where it gets twisted. Instead of showcasing him, Haslam shelved him. Deliberately, quietly, confusingly. And that's no accident. Because benching the franchise's most exciting player didn't kill the hype, it amplified it. It created questions, drama, hot takes. Suddenly, every sports outlet, every podcast, every thread on X was spiraling into theories. Why isn't Shedeur playing? Is Stefanski holding him back? Is it a scheme issue? An ego clash? Is Shedeur not ready? Or is Haslam building tension on purpose? And while the talking heads debate, Haslam grins like the puppet master holding every string. Each doubt, each delay, each awkward press conference is exactly what he wants. Shadeur's silence creates suspense. Every second he's benched isn't wasted time, it's marketing. And every moment the fans scream, "Put him in!" They're fueling the very plan designed to keep him out. You see, Haslam isn't trying to win a football game. He's trying to engineer a cultural moment, something bigger than a playbook. He's not after a Lombardi trophy, he's hunting headlines, stadium approvals, jersey sales, and TV deals. He's running the Browns like a live-stream drama. And whether we realize it or not, we're all watching the show. It's not mismanagement, it's manipulation. And that makes it way more interesting. And just when you thought the chaos couldn't get any crazier, that's when the illusion starts to crack. On the surface, the 2025 Cleveland Browns look like a franchise drifting into chaos, a rotating door of quarterbacks, a head coach who looks more confused every week, and a locker room that smells more like tension than teamwork. But what if it's not chaos? What if the dysfunction is the disguise, not the glitch in the system, but the system itself? Let's talk about the quarterback situation. First, you've got Joe Flacco, 13-year vet, Super Bowl MVP abruptly traded mid-season to a division rival. That's not a rebuild move. That's a bold shot across the bow. That's a statement. But no one could figure out what the statement was. Then Dillon Gabriel, a rookie taken later in the draft, gets the nod. Flashes of promise, sure, but he's clearly not ready. So why not play Shedeur? That question became the fuse. Week after week, fans asked the same thing. And instead of hearing answers, they watched Kevin Stefanski pacing the sideline like a man trying to read a map written in another language, holding that same dusty playbook like it's going to save him from drowning. Meanwhile, the team continues to stumble. Turnovers, missed reads, uninspired play calling. But still, no Shedeur. This is where the psychology kicks in. The Browns aren't just fielding a football team this season, they're performing a long con. A slow, theatrical rollout. Because if you want to turn a player into a legend before he ever breaks a sweat, this is how you do it. You create so much confusion around him, so much frustration, that the second he does enter the game, it feels biblical. This chaos, the clumsy starts, the weird interviews, it's smoke, and behind the smoke is Jimmy Haslam, standing with the match. You really think it's random that the Browns look this unorganized? Come on. This franchise has been around long enough to know what game management looks like, even if it's just average. But what we're watching this season isn't bad football, it's carefully staged imperfection. It's the illusion of a team falling apart just long enough to make that one perfect move feel like salvation when it drops. And Shadur? He's not just the move, he's the miracle. The long-awaited social media manifested savior. The longer he stays benched, the more desperate the city becomes to see him. And that's exactly why he's still not playing. Jimmy Haslam knows that when you finally unleash a star, you want an audience that's starving. So he lets the house burn, he lets the fans rage, he lets the media speculate, because none of that matters compared to the final act. But here's the wildest part: you're starting to feel it, right? This team isn't just failing, it's failing on purpose. And the deeper we go, the more it looks like this entire season has been scripted to explode in one spectacular history-making reveal. And what comes next? Yeah, that's where it all blows up. The truth is, there's never been a quarterback quite like Shadur Sanders. Not just because of his play, not just because he throws lasers across the field or scrambles like he's in a video game. It's the aura. He entered the NFL already famous, already a headline, already polarizing. From Jackson State to Colorado, to viral interviews, to that signature watch tap celebration that instantly became a meme, Shadur walked into the league with something most rookies spend years trying to build: a brand. And what does a smart businessman do with a high-value brand? He doesn't rush it, he protects it. He builds anticipation, he lets the myth grow bigger than the man. Jimmy Haslam understood this from day one, and instead of throwing Shedeur into the fire like most teams do with rookie QBs, the Browns kept him on ice intentionally. This wasn't a developmental delay, it was a strategy one that feels straight out of a Hollywood marketing meeting. You want to get people to care? You don't just play the star. You withhold him, let the doubt swirl, let analysts nitpick his mechanics, let fans scream that he's being wasted, let critics call it rookie politics or coaching ignorance. Every headline, every angry fan tweet, every skipped press conference adds fuel to the fire. Because what sells more than greatness? Mystery. Haslam didn't just want a star quarterback, he wanted a storyline. He wanted that when's he entering the game, tension every week. He wanted the anticipation to build to the point where Shedur's first snap would feel like the second coming. A basic rollout wouldn't work. Haslam didn't need average ratings, he needed viral moments. So he turned Shedeur into the forbidden superstar, the one everyone knew was better, but no one could touch. The starter who was benched, not because he couldn't play, because his debut was worth more than any routine start. This is how you launch a movement, not just a player. And the wildest part? It worked. Shadur Sanders became the most talked about QB in the entire league without even playing a full game. His jersey sales went up, his name trended weekly. Talk shows debated everything from his maturity to his mindset, all while he sat quietly on the sidelines, building mystique. They're not sabotaging Shedeur, they're weaponizing him. Because when he finally touches the turf, it's not going to be football. It's going to be an event. And when the whole world tunes in to watch that first snap, nobody will care about Stefanski's playbook or last week's box score. They'll care about the moment. And that moment has already been planned. Kevin Stefanski looks like a ghost in his own stadium. Week after week, he's pacing the sidelines with that blank stare, clutching his playbook like it's a survival guide, like it's the only thing keeping him tethered to reality. You can almost see it in his face. He's not coaching a football team anymore. He's trapped inside a circus he can't control. Because while Jimmy Haslam is upstairs playing billionaire-level chess, Stefanski is still trying to win checkers on a broken board. He didn't sign up for this. He didn't enter the 2025 season expecting a media firestorm, a quarterback conspiracy, and an owner who's operating like a Netflix showrunner. He's a football guy, X's and O's, structure, game plans. But now, he's a supporting character in someone else's drama. The problem? He knows it. He knows that every decision he makes, every safe third down call, every field goal in the red zone, every week he trots out a quarterback not named Shedeur, is secretly being measured against the moment everyone's waiting for, the debut. And every time he delays it, the pressure multiplies. Fans boo louder. The media digs deeper. Social media spirals harder. But Stefanski keeps trying to play it safe. Like safe even exists anymore. Here's the brutal truth. In a normal world, playing it conservative might save your job. In this world, it makes you the villain. Because while the fans view Shedeur as their hero in waiting, Stefanski's become the barrier, the gatekeeper, the reason the suspense hasn't paid off yet. And maybe that's why he's doubling down. Maybe that's why he's sticking to Dillon Gabriel, backing backup-level QBs, spinning every press conference like a man trying to delay the inevitable. Not because he believes it'll work, but because starting Shadur means surrendering the last bit of control he has left. Think about it. What happens when Shedeur walks onto the field and instantly becomes the story? Where does that leave Stefanski? Invisible, replaceable, expendable. He might coach the breakout, but no one will credit him for it. So instead of embracing the chaos, he's resisting it. And that's the most dangerous thing a coach can do when the machine is already rolling. Haslam is pushing this narrative to the edge, and Stefanski keeps trying to pump the brakes in a car that lost its steering a long time ago. And that tension, that internal war between traditional coaching and viral spectacle, it's starting to burn through the locker room, the fan base, and the season. Stefanski isn't just calling plays anymore. He's stalling history. And in the eyes of the people, that's becoming unforgivable. Because deep down, everyone already knows. This story ends when Shadur begins. By now, you've probably noticed something strange. Shadur Sanders hasn't played a full professional game, and yet somehow, he's everywhere. Trending every Sunday, clogging up timelines, flooding podcast episodes and sports debates that should be about wins and losses. But that's the trick. This isn't about football anymore. This is about content. The media? They're not just covering Shedeur, they're hooked on him. He's a walking algorithm, a headline factory, a human engagement magnet. And whether it's hate, hype, or hope, Shedeur sells. And you better believe Jimmy Haslam knows that. This isn't your grandfather's NFL. It's not about gritty grit and locker room leadership anymore. It's about clicks. It's about reach. It's about turning a quarterback into a trending topic and monetizing every second of silence the team refuses to break. So when Mary Kay drops a vague, "This could be the week Shedeur starts," quote, what happens? The media runs wild. Podcasters speculate for hours. Comment sections explode. Number free Shedeur trends again. And just like that, Cleveland becomes the epicenter of the NFL not because they're winning, but because nobody can shut up about a quarterback who's not playing. It's the kind of media storm you can't buy. But if you build it, if you masterfully dangle the right questions, leak just the right rumors, drop a cryptic tweet at the perfect moment, it becomes an unstoppable force. And guess what? Haslam's been engineering it from the top. He doesn't need to hand Shedeur a jersey. He needs to keep handing the media mystery. It's the ultimate marketing funnel. Every "Shedeur's not ready" quote, a spark. Every "we like our quarterback room" moment, gasoline. And every single time Dillon Gabriel takes the field, a cannon shot straight to the fan base's nerve endings. We're watching the NFL's first viral quarterback, and the league doesn't even know how to handle it. Because this isn't performance-based buzz, it's narrative-based demand. And that's dangerous. Because it doesn't go away with a bad game. If anything, it grows stronger. Even analysts who doubted him in college are doing 180 seconds. They see the momentum. They see the future. And whether they love Shedeur or hate him, they all know one thing. He moves the needle. Think about it. The Browns could be 3-7, dead in the water, and still lead the league in online engagement. Why? Because people aren't watching football. They're watching the circus around Shedeur. And the media? They're just as deep in it as anyone else. Let's be honest. What's easier to cover offensive line schemes? Or a quarterback soap opera starring the son of Dillon Sanders? Yeah, exactly. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. This entire situation is profitable for one person and one person only. Jimmy Haslam. While Cleveland's fan base tears itself apart, wondering why Shadur Sanders isn't on the field, Haslam is sitting in his high-rise office, smiling like a man who's watching money rain from the sky. Because every tweet, every podcast meltdown, every sports headline that mentions Shedeur, It all feeds the machine. See, Haslam isn't running a football team. He's running a content studio disguised as a franchise. And his top product? Uncertainty. It doesn't matter if Shedeur is on the bench or on the field. What matters is that he's always at the center of the conversation. Merchandise is flying off the shelves. Tickets are selling like there's a championship on the line. Season pass renewals are up, fans are clinging to the hope that this week is the week. That's what makes this so powerful. Haslam realized something decades of NFL owners ignored. Drama sells, wins just maintain. And nothing brings in more engagement than manufactured chaos. Think about it. Which quarterback jersey sells more? The one quietly stepping in as a game manager? Or the one creating national debate without taking a single snap? It's not even close. Haslam is playing what we might call Haslamomics. He doesn't need consistency, he needs tension. Long-form suspense that keeps keeping people coming back not just to games, but to screens. Because let's not forget, that stadium he wants to build? It hasn't been approved yet. And investors don't bet on average teams. They bet on storylines. They bet on cities with movement, momentum, and media firepower behind every drive. And right now, no team in the league, not even the Chiefs, not even the Cowboys, is commanding media heat like Cleveland, all fueled by a player who hasn't even been given the keys yet. And here's the wildest twist. Haslam doesn't even need Shedeur to play well. At first. He just needs the debut to grab headlines. He needs the moment to hit. He needs hashtags, highlight reels, and one camera shot of Shedeur tapping that luxury watch mid-game. That one clip will be worth millions in media value alone. Because by the time he finally steps onto that field, every single person will already think they know him. That's not branding. That's propaganda. That's show business in cleats. Haslam turned a quarterback controversy into Cleveland's top marketing campaign. And now the team, the media, and the fans are all playing their part whether they realize it or not. The game isn't happening on the field. It's happening above the scoreboard. And Jimmy Haslam's already winning. There's tension in the air in Cleveland, and it's not from the scoreboard. It's deeper than that. It's static. The kind of anticipation that twists in your gut before something big happens. Even the fans can feel it, something's coming. Something major. Something inevitable. That something is Shadur Sanders. You can hold back a star for only so long, but once the buzz outgrows the silence, once the spotlight gets too bright to ignore, there's no holding it down. And when Shedeur finally takes that field, it won't be a rookie debut. It won't be a substitution. It'll feel like the main event at a heavyweight championship, bigger than the game around it. Because every second he's been benched, every week the Browns have stalled, every social media war over why he's not starting, it's all been fuel. And now the tank is bursting. The moment he steps onto that grass, the stadium will shake. Phone cameras will go up like lighters at a concert. Twitter will melt. SportsCenter will interrupt their schedule. And Jimmy Haslam? He'll be in his box seat, watching it all like a director hitting play on the scene he storyboarded a year ago. Because this was the plan. The slow build. The emotional manipulation. The tension. The narrative engineering. All of it was designed to create one cinematic moment, the rise of QB12. And here's the twist, the longer Haslam waits, the bigger the moment becomes. Right now, Shedeur touching a football in uniform is more valuable than half the league's final scores. Let that sink in. We're not talking about expectations anymore. We're talking about a cultural movement built around hype, hope, and withheld greatness, the kind of storyline that transcends football. This is a reveal, not of just a player, but of a statement. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what we built. Watch it unfold. And even if it's one play, one drive, one quarter, the impact is already global. It's future-proof hype. Shadur Sanders is no longer just a draft pick. He's become a moment in waiting. His debut is the plot twist to a season written like a series finale. And when it finally happens, it won't just shift momentum, it'll shift narrative control. Because from that moment on, nothing else will matter in Cleveland. Not the coaching staff, not the rebuild timeline, not the stadium logistics, not even this season's record. There will be one headline, one face, one future, and it'll be wearing number 12. So here we are, 20 weeks into the most unpredictable season in the NFL. And the biggest story in football still hasn't taken a snap. Shadur Sanders, the chosen one, the viral prodigy, the heir to Primetime's legacy, is still sitting on the sidelines not because he isn't ready, but because the game he's playing isn't happening between the lines. It's happening above our heads. We thought this season was about rebuilding, about fixing old mistakes, about finally turning the Cleveland Browns from a punchline into a powerhouse. But in reality, this was never really about football. It was about leverage. It was about timing. It was about narrative domination. Jimmy Haslam didn't just draft a quarterback. He drafted a storyline, and by hiding it in plain sight, by keeping Shadur behind the curtain while the city begged for him, he created the single most bankable football story since Brady took over for Bledsoe. And here's the true genius of it. Even if this entire plan crashes and burns, even if the Browns don't win another game, Haslam still wins. The press? Hooked. The fans? Locked in. City officials? Suddenly all in on that billion-dollar stadium. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't indecision. It wasn't Stefanski being cautious. It was strategic chaos perfectly sculpted to create a cultural tidal wave the moment Shedeur finally gets the green light. And Shedeur? He's been patient, silent, studying from the sidelines, letting the world scream on his behalf, because deep down he knows the truth. His first snap isn't just a debut. It's an explosion. The bench wasn't a setback, it was a launch pad. And soon, very, very soon, we'll all witness the eruption. Not just of a quarterback, but of a story so high stakes, so perfectly orchestrated, you have to wonder, was this season ever about winning games? Or was it about controlling the spotlight? Because think about this. Name one other rookie who's turned the entire league upside down without throwing a single touchdown. You can't. And that's the power of narrative. Jimmy Haslam's Browns may not lead the league in wins, but they're leading in something far more valuable: attention. And in today's NFL, attention is currency. Controversy is a tactic, and chaos? Chaos is strategy. So go ahead, keep asking when Shedeur will finally start. Just know, the longer they hold him back, the louder his debut will roar.